And welcome back to Daily Wrap. Well, the heat is on in Europe right now after Greece turned down the European Union's bailout plan on Sunday. With the euro dropping daily and stock markets around the world following suit, we now turn to Forbes.com contributor and regular here in the Daily Wrap, Bill Tucker. Bill, thanks for coming on.
You betcha, Joe. Yes, indeed. Greek voters did give a resounding no to the demands of the European bankers. And in doing so, they gave their prime minister a tremendous vote of confidence because it was him, after all, who asked them to give them a no. What the vote means, or more likely will mean, isn't anything horrible. It's in a very direct way, it means nothing to America. We have very little in the way of an economic or trade relationship with Greece, and Greece's economy is less than 2% of the whole European economic zone. What the no vote does do is give Greece lawmakers and legislatures some leverage in negotiation with the bankers. The ball now goes over to the bankers' court. And they've been demanding increased austerity measures in return for even more money. But clearly, that hasn't worked. So did the bankers now concede that point? Well, it's not likely they will do so publicly, and they don't have to. All they have to do is come to the realization that some money's better than no money, restructure the debt, and in return, demand economic reforms. Everybody goes home happy because, after all, the debt needs restructuring. The bankers do not want Greece bailing out of the European zone. Everybody's stars are in alignment. So this no vote is more likely to mean something like, well, a shrug, probably in the end. Personally, I could kind of get down with the idea, Joe, of Greece bailing out of the European Union, reclaiming the sovereign coin of its realm, but that might be just a little bit radical. However, I suspect that Mr. Rick Unger could do with a little radical.
Yeah, he could. Bill, it is radical, Rick Unger. I was very happy to hear you say that austerity hadn't worked, because clearly it hasn't. It's only pushed unemployment higher. Greece, like every other nation in the Western world, is a consumer-driven economy. Consumers don't have money in their pocket. Yeah. They can't buy products. You don't buy products. You don't make products. Nobody goes to work. But now I have a lot of questions based on that. For starters, sure, do you imagine that this teaches any lessons to other European nations who have decided to go the austerity route, including Great Britain, who doesn't like to consider itself European? Is there a lesson in that they should learn? And just as a follow-up to that, are you really sure that it has no impact on the United States when this is guaranteed to create instability in the euro, and we do a lot of business with the European Union? In fact, they're our #1 trade partner.
You've asked me a lot of questions.
I know.
First question is, there's a difference, okay, for all the liberals in the audience, there's a difference between austerity measures and financial irresponsibility. Yes. Greece has been financially irresponsible with its money. But you and I were talking about this earlier, Rick. The bankers, in the face of that irresponsibility, loaned more money. So they're culpable in this case, right, and they've got to answer up for that. Will it mean something dire for the United States? Well, let's see. Do I know another country that's got a retracted recession, high unemployment, and massive debt? I know a few, including this one, but I don't think anybody wants to create any instability here, Rick. I mean, that's the beauty of this, is that everybody realizes there could be some very serious stakes at hand here. So I think you're going to see the bankers sit down and go, okay, this country's got some resolve, they've got their voters behind it, we're going to have to make some concessions. I don't know what will happen, but I think they're going to have to.
So, Bill, does it bother you at all that if you know anything about European history, you know that Germany benefited immeasurably from having their debts forgiven following World War II? In fact, it set up what we now call the German economic miracle, right, where the kids in the 50s and the 60s weren't forced to pay for the mistakes of their forefathers. Why is Germany trying to jam this down Greece's throat when Greece actually was one of the people who forgave their debts?
I don't know. That's a really great question, Rick, and I'm not even going to speculate on trying to answer it, but it's a solid point.
Hey, Bill, quick question for you, just for the average American sitting at home. Honestly, if my wife hears, my Uncle Bill hears about Greece, and why are they concerned? You mentioned before, it's 2% of the world economy. It's a small country. How does that affect people here in any way, shape, or form? In other words, why is this such a big story if it's such a small economy? How does it affect people here? Why should they be concerned in any capacity?
Well, yeah, but first of all, 1.8% of the European economy. It's even fractional when you get to world economies in terms of scale. But the reason that anybody should be concerned is for the reasons that Rick mentioned. If the bankers decide, no, you know what, it's not in our interest to forgive these debts, we're going to get it all back or we're getting nothing back, and they do it in the face of evidence, right, staring them in the face that it's not working, they're doing what Einstein would call acting insanely, because they keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So if the bankers can come to terms and go, you know what, it's time for us to just restructure this, realize the reality of it, it probably will mean nothing to us, because it's in everybody's interest that it not mean anything to us. And we hope that bankers behave rationally in this case.
Okay, Bill. Well, we appreciate you joining. Bill Tucker, he's a Forbes.com contributor and a regular here on the Daily Wrap. Once again, appreciated. Coming up next, it's potluck time. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. Please do not go anywhere.